Hello everyone and welcome to this Video Son Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield and today I have something rather special for you all. Now, you might be thinking, but Jay, this is some run-of-the-mill Dell Inspiron from the late 90s / early 2000s. Well, I guess you'd be right. However, what this machine is a machine which was owned by what is, frankly, in my opinion, some of the best YouTube personalities. Brandon Bishop has had one. He's had many problems with it, but he's had one. And this was Elmul 3's first Windows laptop. He got as a hand-me-down back in 2005. These machines didn't really enjoy the best of reputations for reliability. And I'll tell you for why. These and their business counterparts. Well, first of all, I probably should explain that at the time that this was made, Dell would actually make an Inspiron version and a Latitude version of the same laptop. And I think they did that from the CPX onwards, if not before. So for example, I was always told, don't buy the Dell Latitude C610, buy the Inspiron 4100. Now, it's quite funny because up until this year, I've never really gotten Dell Inspirons. I bought one, and it was dead on arrival. There are a few Inspirons I like. Those of you who know me will know that I love the Inspiron 1545, a laptop that I've been introduced to time and again during my short stint as manager / computer repair engineer of J. Wakefield Computers. Now, mostly the Inspiron 1545s all it really needed was a RAM upgrade and a copy of Windows 7. That's all they really needed, or in some cases a refresh. If they actually came with Windows 7. Of course, over the Christmas period, I actually rebuilt my sister's Inspiron. That had suffered pretty badly, but it wasn't actually due to manufacturer malfunction. It was actually due to, I think the faulty part was the squidgy bit that sat between the chair and the keyboard of the Inspiron 1545. The bit that we call my sister. And, for her Christmas, my parents bought her the parts for their Christmas present to her, and my Christmas present to her was actually putting the parts together in a way that would actually make it go again. Because, Christmas time, didn't really have any money, so, a rebuilt laptop was the best I could really offer. And then in January, I actually got the Inspiron 1000, which is the first Inspiron that I got that actually worked. Believe it or not, I love that machine. I know it's only a Celeron 2.2. I know it's only got a tiny bit of RAM in it. But I love it. I don't know why. I can't really explain it. I really like the machine. Guilty as charged. I think it's a nice wee machine. I think it's got character. I love sometimes, there's some small, cheap laptops that you think have got, you know, a nice wee character, and the Inspiron 1000 is kind of one of them. I mean, of course, I wouldn't have picked it, you know, off the store shelves today, and, you know, I probably wouldn't pick today's equivalent. Well, I would, having said that, I believe Inspirons are actually better built today than they were. But then I got the 1150, which I did that video on, basically taking the mick out of, well, not taking the mick out of, but I made a video which was basically the same as Top Gear's take on the Aston Martin V12 Vantage, but it was about the laptop and Windows XP. It was quite an emotional video for me to do, actually, with that, because, you know, Windows XP was a great big part of my life. You know, it saw me through studying for, you know, my final years at school. You know, and it saw me through quite a lot of my time at university, actually, as well, did Windows XP. And, you know, I do have fond memories of the operating system, you know, dating back to when I first installed it on my 2001 custom built for realsies back in 2003. I mean, I tried it on my, you know, with the Samsung OS install disk that came with my Samsung V20 laptop back in the day, but obviously that's not going to work. I mean, it'll automatically activate on the... I mean, the Samsung V20 CD worked in the same way as the Dell install CDs do. It actually looks for something, you know, it actually kind of looks for some sort of a marker or whatever you want to call it in, you know, in the laptop's architecture that actually corresponds with... It looks for the key, you know, somewhere within the laptop's hardware. I think it's probably pre-programmed into the laptop's BIOS. It'll recognise that I'm installing it on the correct hardware and will self-activate, but if I install it on a non-Samsung machine, it won't. It'll just ask me to activate like a regular version of Windows would. But I got a copy of XP for the 2001 custom built, and, you know, from, you know, like I said, I've got fond memories of Windows XP. So, back to this machine then. The Dell Inspiron 8200. If I had to say, I would probably guess that this laptop's counterpart is actually the Dell Latitude C840. Now, I do have the C640, you guys have actually seen it. I've had a C800 and I've had a C810. I threw the C800 away when I moved. That's one machine that actually I don't miss so much. And the C810 I actually sold on. Those two were really unreliable. So why I bought this then, I don't know. I just really fancied an Inspiron 8200. I saw Brandon Bishop's video on it. Been rewatching Brandon Bishop's videos, and I thought, totally awesome. Well, I want one. Now, let's do the tour. So on the left-hand side, you've got some... Oh, no, it isn't. It's a... I'm not sure what drive that is, isn't it? I'm going to say DVD-ROM for now. You guys will probably be able to see what it is on camera. I'll check in the BIOS. Then next to the DVD drive, you've got S-Video out, modem and Ethernet, and it's nice to see the pins. The pins are actually all properly down. On the C810, there was one pin that was up in the air. The usual pathetic excuse for a speaker that they put on these chassis. But at least I didn't put it in the palm rest. The Dell Latitude multi-bay floppy drive. The battery, I don't know if that actually holds a charge or not. On the other side, the other poor excuse for a speaker. Kensington lock slot. Hard disk drive caddy, yes there is a hard disk in there. PC card slots, populated with the slot blanks, nice to see. IEEE 1394 Firewire port, and then you have your headphone microphone and line in parts, I'm not sure which order they're in, and then another vent. And then on the back you have not one, but two fans. This is something that the C800 and C810 had before it. Then you've got the Latitude C-Series power adapter. It's a power adapter that Dell used across their machines up until, you know, about a year into the Windows XP era, if not longer actually. Then you've got a PS2 mouse/keyboard port, VGA out, we'll get back to that in a minute, docking station port, IEEE 1284 parallel printer port, RS-232 serial port, and two USB ports. Probably 1.1, I'm not entirely sure. Now, I'm going to plug it in. Here's the power supply that I had in the bag that the C810 used to live in. So I'm just gonna plunk the plug in there. Hopefully I'll have time. There we go. Just plunked the cable in the back. It's enormous. So it looks quite nice on the inside actually. It does have quite an amount of use, as you would expect from a machine this age. I'll just angle the camera so you can see how glossy the keyboard gets. It's not overly bad, I wouldn't say. You've got this power button with the silver surround. Then you've got volume up and down, play, pause, stop, rewind and fast forward buttons, and it looks like they also function as an E button and an I button. Nice. Not the letter E or letter I, it's just, you know, how... That'll take you probably to, I think, Dell's website, and that'll probably just put you on the internet or something. And then these can be reprogrammable keys. And I mean, I know I'm supposed to believe it's an Inspiron, but because I've been messing around with Latitude C-Series machines for this long, I look at it and I think, Latitude. But then the design of it inside tells me different. Now, when I saw this on YouTube, I didn't think I would like the design of it much. This, you know, this kind of circular thing can be a wee bit much. I certainly know that I didn't like the original, the Inspiron. I can't remember what it was I got. I think it was a 3200 or something. I didn't very much originally like this convex bit here, but you know what? I opened this machine up from the inside, and I've got to say, I've got to be honest, I do like the look of it. I don't know why, but I love the look of it. Maybe it's because it's a sunny day. It's just, I like it. Anyway, all is not problem-free. I bought this laptop knowing full well there is a fault with it. Because Inspiron 8200's in good condition. Get out of it. Like I said, these weren't the most reliable machines out of Dell's stables. I have to believe that the C6 series and the Inspiron 4000 series of machines were better, more reliable, although not much more. I know a lot of people have had problems, certainly with the C610, but yeah, those of you who've watched my recent video on playing a networked game of Grand Theft Auto, you'll probably remember that rant. Anyway, now let's actually power on, and I'll show you what the problem is. Can you guess what it is yet? Yeah. Well, this white bit was a lot worse, and however, it didn't actually have this kind of image derpage here. It kind of looked like a regular image. However, it just looked like a regular image that had been blanked off. However, I know that when I move the screen backwards and forwards, it will... You can see how it actually changes as I move the screen. And that is kind of reassuring. But gee, what do you mean? Well, it should be an easier fix than I thought. Now, as luck would have it, this morning I took delivery of a wee bit of something special. A display cable for one of these. Because I kind of assumed that that was a fault. Now, the PowerMac Galaxy is not going to be held accountable for what I say next. But he has worked on these. He actually does flip Dell laptops. He actually buys and sells them. He knows his Dells. So, I mean, he's told me he's had problems with the white lines of dead pixels going across the bottom of the screen that was actually sorted by a dodgy display cable. Well, it was sorted by replacing the display cable. So that's what I'm going to try. It's a cheap fix, and if anything, I've been told that a display cable is a good idea. You know, even if the display itself needs replaced. What the? What is this? Aha! I've been ordering parts from partsjustlaptops.com. Now they actually have decided, I didn't actually see this morning, but I needed another CMOS battery for a Compact Armada. So they've actually put it in here. They've actually packaged it in with the screen cable. I've had lots of good dealings with parts_just_laptops. You know, and they've been very good to me every time. Now, just to make sure that it is the display cable, what I plan to do is connect this machine up to this Dell monitor, funnily enough, which I got from Action on Disability, remember. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to test out if the machine actually looks as it should on this display. And if it does, that will actually rule out any video card failure. Got to keep your bases covered. Now, I probably should have done this before even, you know, shilling out for a display cable. But sometimes I can be Captain Stupid. So what I need to do is I probably should have mounted my iPhone to the tripod, really, but never mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to unscrew the VGA cable from here. Oh yeah, this video cable is completely untested. I was given it by a friend of mine who lives down south. I was given this display cable and a bag of floppy diskettes. You know, floppy diskettes are always appreciated because I do still use them. And newer ones do tend to die a bit more often than I would have liked. So, yeah. It's quite funny, actually, how new floppies tend to die off quite young, and older ones can stand up to the test of time. You'd think it would be the older ones that are dying off, and yeah, sure enough, they do, but younger ones, if you do something a bit drastic, like, I don't know, write something to them, that can cause a premature death. Right. So I'm going to switch this on. Now obviously I won't get a... Oops. I won't get a full... I won't get an image from this laptop straight away on this... Oh, maybe I will. And that has actually confirmed to me what I've needed to know. The image seems to be perfectly fine. And I can tell you exactly that this machine is Ultra XGA NVIDIA GeForce 4 Go. It's a Pentium 4 1.70 GHz / 1.20 GHz. 512 megs of RAM, NVIDIA GeForce 4 Go. Video memory 32 megs. Ultra XGA Crystal 4205 audio. 20GB hard disk. I'd like a bit more, but well, you can't be choosy. Actually, I have a couple of 80s. I might just plot one in here. The 20 can actually then go into one of my other machines. Diskette drive A is a modular bay. Diskette drive B is not installed, but as I've discussed in the past, I could add a parallel port one to make it drive B, and I could do floppy disk to floppy disk copy, something I've never been able to do on even a desktop. Fixed optical drive, CDRW/DVD combo. Well, that answers that question. So, I'm gonna just have a wee gander here. It's a boot order. Boot post minimal, LAN controller enabled, docking station undocked, docking Ethernet enabled. Universal Connect enabled. Serial port COM1, infrared port disabled. I'll deal with that later. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. And the battery reckons that it is 96% charged. I like your optimism, Dell, but let's just... Oh, we already did. Oh. The charger actually came out. Oh well. The battery holds some charge. We know that much. It'll actually hold a charge. It'll actually power the machine. I don't know for how long, but it will power it. It's kind of nice. Battery status idle. Right. Now, let's see what happens when I try and boot. Oh look, the fans go off. And then the machine freezes. That's... I don't think the sound from that hard disk was any good. Let's try this again. It was detected by the system. Oh. That definitely does look like the display cable to me. It kind of looks like an analog TV that's out of sync. Well, it's out of tune, rather. I kind of want to get my wee tune... I kind of want to go and get my wee tuning rod and just kind of go... Just turn it, just fine tune it. You can? Right. I'm not sure this XP installation even works. Whoa, 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 whoa! Let's try booting into safe mode. So as you can see, the display's actually... It's working a bit better than now. But as you can see, the white line isn't on my external display. I'm just wondering where the hard disk light is on this machine. Oh, there it is. It just seems to be kind of seizing up. Well, I hope that's not a major problem. Anyway,
you've got mail.
I've got mail. Right, I know what I could do actually to test it. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to do to test it. A Linux distro, which should also test the optical drive as well. So, if this system boots into Linux, I know it'll be worth my time taking a screwdriver to it. And obviously, I'm gonna do this machine because, and I was just saying to a member of staff at Action on Disability, it's not like me, you know. I don't like to see machines go to waste. You know, I really don't. I certainly think it's a crying shame that. Okay, maybe this one is probably getting a bit long in the tooth, but I mean, machines like, for example, you know, my Dell Latitude, my Dell Inspiron, Dell Dimension 4600, that would make a perfect machine for someone who just needs to, you know, job seek and what have you. But and thanks to XP going out of support, I mean, while Windows XP going out of support isn't the scary thing to make it out to be, it's certainly not something that should be taken lightly. You know, people will hack. Eventually, Microsoft will actually turn around and say, well, look, enough is enough. We can't continue supporting this. I love how this is all gradiented and this isn't. I think it's more to the screen rather than the limits of the video card. Oh dear. So anyway, as I was saying, Microsoft aren't going to support I mean, when I say that, the 0-day bug in Internet Explorer, they did actually bring it out for XP, which is really nice, really good of it. And you know, but that shouldn't be expected. It shouldn't be expected that Microsoft are going to fix every known bug in XP. You know, it is going out of support, but there's really nothing to replace it with. And I know you're all going to say, hey, Jay, what about Linux? Well, a lot of users who have XP era machines, who can't afford to upgrade or, you know, what have you, they're not all of them are going to be big, you know, Linux pros. And I don't care how easy it is to use. There's always going to be something that an average user will need to do that, you know, we take for granted that we could Google it and, you know, find a solution and type it, you know, just hack some code into a bash terminal window. The standard user is just going to want to plug something in and have it work. And it's a shame that there's no really easily workable alternative that's Windows compatible. And I know you're saying, hey, you could put Windows 7 on it. Really? You know what? Stop it. Seriously, stop it. I ran at work, you know, when I was running J. Whitefield computers, you know, my office machine ran Windows XP. No, it was a Cube. I put a 3.2 gigahertz P4 hyper-threaded in there, and I upgraded it to 2 gigs of DDR400. It was a Socket 775, it was a press-hot CPU that I used. Oh my goodness, did I regret it. I put Windows 7 on it, you know, because I wanted the magnifier. It ran okay, but it doesn't leave you any room for... I mean, XP is not supported, but 7 still is. And as a result, you're going to get lots more updates. Applications are going to update. Applications are going to need newer, applications on Windows 7. They'll require more to run than they would in XP. It's just kind of a fact that, I mean, I know we've got to let go of these machines sooner or later, but I don't care how much you tell me the economy's improved. A lot of people are still feeling the squeeze, and will continue to feel a squeeze. And in times in times of austerity, it's advisable you try and make things last as long as possible if you can. I mean, obviously, there's some uses that you'll actually need a new machine for. I don't doubt that. But for some people, a machine, a mid to late XP era machine would still be ideal. It can still carry out all your tasks today. It's ridiculous how much. But it is ridiculous how much. It seemed that, the new versions of Windows require you to have, quite a bit of power, really, if you think about it, just to be able to write a CV. When, my Compact Presario 2240 over there, I could write a CV in Word 97, or even Works 4. The software has just become exponentially huge. I mean, don't get me wrong. If a distro of Linux does come out and it's very easy to use, I personally would like to hear about it. Because back in 2003, when I worked for PC World on Work Experience, I was sat on my lunch break, the manager came in, and I said to him, I believe that Linux is going to take off in a big way and replace Windows. And he said, well, I have a friend that's just like you who seems to think Linux is going to take off. But I think, don't quote me on this, but I kind of think that he was sceptical about it. And if he was, I don't know that he was, so like I said, please don't quote me on it. This guy's a manager and therefore scary. But if he was sceptical, I now share his scepticism, because while it has become so much easier to use in the last 10 years, there's still a lot of inroads that need to be made. I mean, I don't want it to be simplified to the point of it basically being like an iPad. But what I want is for it to be as simple as Windows XP, not just to do the basic tasks, because on Linux it's relatively easy to do the basic tasks. But I want it to be easy to kind of fix something like it is on XP if either you get a new hardware device or, something like that. And not all hardware devices are actually Linux compatible. I mean, they've started dropping support for older ATI graphics cards for some strange reason. Really, there's no need for that. There's really no need for that. I mean, it used to be the AMD/ATI brigade that used to run Linux because it didn't want to live in an Intel/NVIDIA world of Windows. It was kind of the done thing. I mean, I don't mean to generalize, please forgive me, but quite often the users of AMD CPU, a lot of times, people who use Linux had AMD builds. So yeah, I mean, and back in 2004, I was kind of among them with my Athlon XP 3000 Plus, proud as punch, because I thought it ran at 3 gigahertz. How wrong I was. But yeah, so all that really remains for me to do is actually fit the display cable and check that it's all working. It runs DSL, so hopefully, once I fit a bigger hard drive and install Windows XP, just put a clean install on, it should run that fine as well. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please feel free to like, to subscribe to videos on Frontier. If you like what we do, please feel free also to like us on Facebook. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll all join me again for my next video.